Yeah, we do have some delegations too. Yeah, Ethan's going to speak.
Watching the clock.
What's that?
What are you doing watching the clock?
Watch it. All right, we'll go ahead and get started this evening, and we'll begin with the good news from Mr. Saddle.
Well, there was kind of a wide variety of good news and different things that made it in this time. And I won't spend a lot of time on any one, but just give you an idea if you haven't read yet all the different kinds of things that are there. We had a student who participated in state bowling. We had 5 all Iowa dancers. We had some successful individuals in contest with DECA, which is a business club. State individual speech participants, all 5 who went to districts qualified for state. There was a little blurb in there regarding the TLC program, and that it had provided support one way or another to 91% of teachers this year. There was an article about the jazz bands, and then also about the National Council on Youth Leadership. That's a leadership forum that happens in the summer at Drake each year for our seniors to be. And then also just a little article from Mrs. Wolf's life skills class. They had done some fundraising for the Keokota shelter for pets and had a good time with that. So kind of a wide variety of different things good news this time.
Good. Thanks. Anyone else, any board reports or anything? I know the middle school had their production here this past weekend and stuff, and that went really well too. 2 different plays they did on Friday and Saturday, I think it was. And then Ben and I got to attend. I don't know if anybody else got the opportunity to attend the Dell presentations over at the middle school. They did a good job.
Very impressed with communication skills, presentation skills.
Yeah. Fun to listen to some of them. Some of the topics were cool.
Yes.
Cool. All right. Let's see. We next have delegations.
Hi, I'm Ethan Lawrence. I'm a 6th grader at Indianola Middle School, and I've come here to talk to you today about math and education setting. This is to support my claim about how kids should have an option to choose to wear a mask. The first thing I want to bring up is that when we sit down at our desk and leave for the next class, the desks are not sanitized. And teachers do not enforce the use of sanitizer before and after every class. And another thing is the controversial topic of do masks protect you? And they do to an extent, and this extent of use of masks can actually increase the chances of COVID-19. Evidence from an article says that they reported that healthcare workers should not use cloth masks as protection against respiratory infection. Cloth masks result in significantly higher rates of infection than medical masks. Next to another article says encouraging the public to wash their hands reduce incidence of infection significantly, whereas face masks do not. And from the same article, it says experiments have shown that surgical and cotton masks do not trap the COVID-19 virus. Thus, an asymptomatic or mildly infected person wearing a face mask for hours without changing it, without washing hands every time they touch the mask, could paradoxically increase the risk of infecting others. I think this evidence proves, 1, that masks should be optional, not forced, and that at least we should offer a 30-minute mask break a day or any sort of mask break. I believe this will actually slow spread of COVID-19. I also believe that COVID-19 and I also believe that that washing hands and hand sanitizer will make it so that we don't have to wear masks at school, and it wouldn't increase our chances of getting COVID-19. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Ethan.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else?
Hi, I'm Brady Dar, if you all have met me before. I'm here on behalf of the Indianola Education Association. I just wanted to take a quick moment and thank you all for everything that happened with the associate salary schedule. We appreciate that you guys brought that to your attention this year when it was a non-negotiation year, and that you decided to make that a priority. We were really happy to work with you on that, so thank you very much.
Thanks, Brady. Anyone else? Okay. No one else outside or anything either. Good. Okay. We'll move on to the consent agenda.
Question about the motion to do the consent agenda.
Motion made by Ben to approve. Seconded by Carolyn. Any further discussion by the board? All those in favor say aye.
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 Motion carries 7-0. And then we have any presentations? We'll move on to the action items here. We'll start with the 2021-2022 school calendar. Go ahead and open it. Okay. So we'll go ahead and open the public hearing for this item. Now we ask if there's anybody to speak for or against. Okay. Anyone here to speak for or against?
Opening the public hearing.
Oh, nope, we're good.
I'm Greta Southall, as many or all of you know, and I'm here this evening to speak on behalf of the calendar committee. And we felt it was really important that you understood that the drafts that are on the table before you tonight for approval is not what we agreed upon as a whole group, and that we believe there are other options that we can use in order to reinstate some of those things that we found to be rather important. So the draft before you today, the biggest changes that stand out to our committee was the 1 flex day as opposed to 2, and the shortened, rather truncated winter break. And we had worked out, and thanks to Jonna's genius spreadsheet, we as a whole group were able to come up with a calendar draft that hit those state requirements of the start dates, the 1080 minimum hours. In fact, so much so that is about a week and a half of additional instructional time in there, as well as some of the local preferences. 190 teacher contract days, 178 student meeting days. So, we left our work there. Everything seemed very copacetic, and then there were some pretty significant changes, which is what you have in front of you. When asked about this, got no explanation. It's simply, we were told, unable to accommodate. And so I tried to, in the email, recreate the draft that we as a committee left off with, that we felt would hit all of our requirements and our preferences in Indianola Community School District, and still meet some of those things that the teachers would like to see happen in the calendar. So our first ask really is just that you table this discussion of approving the calendar. The one in the packet is not the one that the whole group signed off on. The one that I provided you is, or the two versions that I provided you are pretty darn close to what the group had left in agreement with. And we're expecting to see brought forward on the board agenda. And we're taken aback that that is not what was in front of us. We felt that if there were issues that really necessitated these changes, we should have known about them and didn't. So our ask is to either table the discussion until we have a chance to meet with the cabinet, the committee, and board representatives to resolve these issues, or to adopt a different version than the one that is in the packet, one that more closely aligns with the ones that I emailed you all this afternoon. Questions?
Everyone got that email this afternoon with the ones that Greta was referencing?
Right.
Okay.
So
Lord.
we don't know why it was changed then.
I do not know.
Okay.
And given that the calendar we are currently operating under for this year checks all those boxes, we see no reason that the proposed draft that we had agreed on as a committee wouldn't have checked those boxes.
Any other questions for Greta? Lori, any questions?
No, not at this time.
That's right there.
Okay. Thanks, Greta. Anyone else here to speak? Mimi, do you want to introduce the calendar here and speak?
Sure. The calendars that we have presented spread out some of the professional development days throughout the calendar. We have new teacher orientation. We were able to get a flex day in that allows for some of that online training. There's several things through the ADA that are required on an annual basis. I'm not sure what else, what other questions. I know that there's been a lot of dialogue back and forth. We were able to get 178 days, 190 contract days. There are options to get the 2 weeks at Christmas. It goes into June and it essentially takes away the Wednesday at Thanksgiving.
Any board members have any questions for?
So there wasn't any question about how many hours you got in for the week, that was all okay. I mean, you have a certain amount of hours every week, right?
Yeah.
So that wasn't an issue.
I guess what was the reason for the change then? It sounds like there was an agreement.
The original
committee.
draft had 7 work days at the beginning of the school year. And so we took those work days and spread them out throughout, or those professional development days and spread them out throughout the calendar. So we could have a better alignment of days and better training and professional development provided throughout the year in a more timely and appropriately timed.
Who's we? Was that the committee doing that?
Was cabinet.
So then I guess I'm confused on what the purpose of the handbook committee is.
It's truly the handbook focus group.
Yeah.
It's an advisory group to advise administration on the desires of the district and the staff and those members of that group.
And I think that the recommendations from that group, as Mimi put in the cover page here, we're down to just a couple of differences there. One being 1 flex day versus 2, and the other being, the full 2 weeks of winter break. So, I don't feel like the committee wasn't listened to or didn't have input.
Was last school year the first year of the committee?
It was last year, and actually it's a handbook committee that last year we decided, hey, let's try, let's try using this group for calendar. So that was the first time we had done it that
I
way.
remember you speaking very glowingly of it as we developed last year's calendar, how it worked.
I think it was a good vehicle for that. Prior to that, what we typically did was create 3 different calendars and then kind of put them out to teachers, have teachers narrow down to 2, and then have board pick the one they want. So I do think it's been more iterative probably in the last couple of years.
So what was the reason for taking out the flex day, the extra flex day? You know, why they took that away? In the second
Well, I think flex days too, that was something at one time that was used. Now, last year was the first year since I've been here, this is my 7th year, last year's the first year we had any flex days, and we had 2. And I think, some of the cabinet conversation just was about the number of days we had prior to the year. And one of the early calendars I saw too had some half days in it. And, I think part of it was just valuing, understanding really how adults learn too, and valuing having some dedicated time throughout the year. In terms of the flex day, 1 versus 2, I think it just came down to, as you look, you have certain things that restrict you as you look at this. We can't start earlier than August 23rd, and I think one preference of the committee was not to start on the 23rd, not to start on a Monday. And then always, we always have desire, it seems like, to the end of the year to wrap up before Memorial Day if possible. So I was not in those committee conversations, but I think it just comes down to you can move days around, but if you're trying to control the beginning and the end and have some meaningful PD throughout, then it gets a little bit tougher.
So basically, like with the winter break, by having a week and a half versus 2 weeks, we get out before June 1st. Is that kind of the trade-off?
And
Yeah.
we aren't starting on a Monday, and the desire to have the Wednesday before Thanksgiving off.
Which I think people really liked, but that was not a long-standing deal either, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, I don't think. I think we've just done that maybe the last year or 2. So there can be different solutions for sure, and that's that's why Mimi put on the cover sheet the things that were kind of remaining sticking points. There are ways to get to about anything, I think. But have to make some decisions.
I guess I'd like you to meet with them and see if you can get a compromise going with it.
This isn't a negotiated item.
No, it's not at all.
We're not negotiating here.
And really, it is the board approved calendar, just like this year, anytime we've had a change, that's why I've come to the board to get permission to change it. Yeah, it definitely is one of those things. It's not a negotiated item. We have sought teacher input, pretty intentionally in the last couple of years by using that handbook committee. In terms of and just for full disclosure, I was not in favor of not getting it done, of tabling it, because we're later than we usually are with this, and I'm getting quite a few inquiries. People wondering where we're going to end up. So I would like to get it. I would like to get a calendar approved, whatever it is, if possible.
Why is that it's later than normal?
I think we probably got a little bit slower start on it. It was brand new, to a number of people. It had been done as a Word document in the past, which was tougher to work with. So John, I came and helped with an Excel, which I think was better, but that took a little time to figure that out. This was brand new for Mimi, like everything this year too. So I think we just got a little bit of a late start, and then just had to have some time to get the committee together too.
I will say that people do get really noisy when you go past. We do go past Memorial Day, but sports camps and things like that. One time when we had snow over last snow days, that was something that I'm not sure what date it is, but like squeeze the balloon and it pops out over here, you know,
Well,
so.
I guess I don't know, it's like, if we want to have a winter break, then we have to give up starting on the 24th and give up Wednesday of Thanksgiving. Right?
Well, those- I mean, that's-
Aren't those the things that we have to,
That's a possible solution. You know, that's how it's listed there. I mean, there are other things too. I've heard members say before that they would like more student contact days. Well, we can do that. You can do about any priority there is, and that's one of the hazards of calendar building too. And one reason why in the past, we really Ron and me and other administrators, you know, we came up with several options, just kind of put them out and said, what do you like best? Because if you start, you know, getting into every priority, you know, then it does get complicated. You can do different things. So there probably are other ways to get to it than the possible solutions listed here too.
Yeah, he mentioned, and I've been a big advocate since, and I was here when the switch was made to hours. And before that, we were doing 180 days. Hours and days are completely different. Okay, I mean, the way they change things and all of that. And I've always been a fan of staying at 180 days. Gives our kids more instructions. I'm a big fan of it this year because in theory, we have a lot of people concerned that the kids are behind and they get caught up. So it's a year to go back and set. I'm not a minimalist. I'm getting the minimum number of hours. You know, so we're here to get the best we can, you know, for the kids. So I'm a fan of having 180.
We're actually going to end up with, I think, 174 student contact days this year because we started 177. We had
Yeah.
3 snow days we didn't make up. So, you know, it is not, I can tell you from a flexibility standpoint, there are some good things about hours and it's nice having the extra hours built in.
Yeah.
But, you know, then if you don't make them up, then you get the situation you're talking about where you have less instructional time. But there are a lot of extra hours built into this calendar, as Greta mentioned.
There are hours over the minimum.
Hours over the minimum,
Okay,
right?
not extra.
Yeah, I got
For
you.
teaching.
Yeah.
I'd like to make that distinction.
What was the reasoning behind the change from voting on the 3 calendars versus making the committee?
You know, I think the handbook committee was new last year, and we just saw that and the goal of the handbook committee was just to have some dialogue on different things. And we thought at the time that calendar seemed like, yeah, it's not technically a handbook, but it seemed like something that made some sense to collaborate that way. You know, I've done it different ways, the calendar through the years, as a superintendent too, when I've been primarily responsible for it. I've done the committee thing. I've done what we did my first several years here, which was, you know, come up with several drafts and then just kind of narrow it down until we got to one. I don't know what the best way is. I mean, I don't know if there's one best way to do a calendar.
So Mimi, you'd address those 2 items that Greta had referenced. Says items not included in the calendar but desired by the handbook focus group and potential solutions. The addition of 1 flex day for a total of 2. Possible solution would be to reduce a student contact by 1 day. I think that might be present in Greta's calendar there. I think 100 or 1,136 hours versus 1,131 hours.
Right, and that was the half day PDs, half day student day.
Okay.
Is what it counts for.
Okay. And then the other was the addition of 2 days at winter break to make the equivalent of 2 work weeks. Possible solution, start school on Monday, August 23rd. And then is it also and make November 24th a student day, the day before Thanksgiving?
We need to capture 2 days to do that.
Capture 2 days, so. And then, or possible solution of add 2 days in June. Any other discussion? Lori, you have anything?
Nope, I'm good. No, I'm good.
Well, the action item.
Well, let's get on the table and see what happens.
Okay.
I move acceptance of the recommendation in front of us.
Okay, motion made by Ken to accept the calendar as is presented by the one in front of us here. We have a motion. Anyone else?
I'll say I changed my mind. I thought I was gonna go for it, but I think there's maybe a in between.
Anyone?
Motion to table? No.
Yeah, go
There
ahead.
hasn't been a second.
Right.
So that's that aside for now.
Okay.
Kind of nebulous if the whole area is not, I can go ahead and talk if somebody wants to.
Okay.
So are you gonna record that, Jonna, as the motion dying for lack of a second, or? Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Any more discussion?
I don't want to go less than 170 days. I don't care about some of the other stuff.
I agree.
I just think
I'm
there's,
going from 180 to 178. I'm not gonna go, this is kind of a long way. Other than that, that's my primary thing. Adjusting other things, open this week.
I just think there's some middle ground that can be established, and I think it would be productive, for the committee, and meet again and see if
So I guess I have a question, like if we start on the 23rd, that gives us one more day. I kind of feel like the day before Thanksgiving is the same thing that people are talking about with the winter break, that people that are traveling are likely to pull their kids out to travel for that Thursday. So is there anything magical with 2 weeks of vacation, or could it be like a break? Is it easy to find a second day, or you just don't, I mean, I don't know. It just seems like, I go back and forth on the winter break. Of course, it's nice, but it's also not like you have to have 2 weeks.
Well, and in the world outside of education, a lot of our parents have to go back to work on the 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th, and I think sometimes that's hard too, right? Because there's not many employers that give the 2 weeks off for Christmas. Right? I mean, you have to take, those parents have to take those vacation weeks too, so that's just a thought on.
I think that was brought up in one of the comments too. I mean, I think those breaks too are a good time for the staff to, get a break. Unique part of my job and a lot of other jobs is I can just take 3 days off whenever I feel like it, or 4 days off. That's not always the case with teachers. So sometimes if I were doing that, I would think those breaks would be nice.
Lori, any conversation?
No, I just think we can find a compromise. If we could figure something out.
Well, I'd be happy to ask the superintendent to see what he could work on and arrange for the next. I don't know if anybody else is willing to.
It sounds from what's been said to us, there are some workable options to say that 178 is the different number, right? Maybe. Which is, it sounds like there's options to say that 78 day.
Yes. Could be, yeah.
Meeting though, to get this?
March 22nd.
The way that, or not the, you were talking.
I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna propose, that start on the 20th. We go to, Wednesday, Thanksgiving. Everything else
Can we do?
is on here.
And then
And then you're talking about
Yeah,
days
just-
on Christmas break.
I'm just trying to. Oh, okay.
each family has.
Yeah. As you, that means you come back on 20th. You come back on 3rd,
The 20th, which.
December.
so you Monday that you're coming.
Had a break.
Oh.
I mean, it's
Right.
it's a Monday.
The Monday, but it's only one.
You would have the 20th and 22nd.
3 days. Yeah, I gotcha.
Do the 22nd.
You'd have the 20th, and come back on the, I suppose.
The
Already
second
done.
and the fourth. Yeah.
Oh,
But like the 23rd. 22nd.
We need 3 days. Sorry.
2 just 2 weeks.
Yeah, we need 2 days. If you did the.
Wait a minute, so we went a day before.
Right.
What did I thought if we,
The 23rd,
instead of,
and then you go on.
and
maybe
you
four
go
things.
on for 20.
Or
those would get the 2 weeks.
And then we could 22nd and at Christmas, and that gives you the weeks and still meet the no fewer 2 days a week, because the requirement.
Yeah.
School day in a week.
So. Gives you the. you said- I'm all just decided, I think it's right for. I think I like. Yeah.
Got us 100.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Which I think.
Okay.
Maybe if I think. You heard the Christmas and. This for that.
It would break, the time stay, like, no, like, stay. Right.
Okay, I'll make a motion and be on Monday, August 23rd. To make,
So that's a school.
that would be, make November. Would that be 20
School day.
full day, add. Or have 21st and 2nd. Right,
No.
sorry,
22nd.
January.
January 4th.
December 22nd, January 4th. That's
It's holidays.
I'll second.
Motion made, Ben by Ken. Any discussion about this?
Understanding that
So
still
we're
in
not doing it like.
That it has one stay and
How many flex days this?
or
Is that typical that there's one? What was this last?
well, this was the first flex day for the last 6 or 7. I don't know.
Any other discussion board? Any from you, Lori?
Nope.
You were gonna say something?
At Flex,
I thought it was just work any, count the hours like stay,
Correct.
right?
Yeah,
So
that-
it doesn't
that-
have to be built in the calendar.
Well, we need to show it where, because it does contract date, but exactly right, the contract that we, last year, was, hey, let's lay out some of these required trainings we have to do. And the way we present this, if you haven't gotten that stuff, your hour, but it's this flex, then say you should just do that. You're exactly right, the concept, do it whenever, up to that, but we need to capture where on the account. I won't explain that. I just did.
Just know when I did it, elementary teacher, they're good boys. I speak for elementary, I did, but we certainly spent lots of, and so we recorded X hours for those in. We were at school from noon, the week started, those in, so.
I think we made it pretty simple, for that, when we, with the, we didn't have, we had a similar process. Same.
And that's why I don't understand putting it in, because I thought it would just, when.
Well, we've got, but if we add another, the problem, if you want to, there's a problem. We have 109 days in there, which is what the teacher contract is, and 100 days. Well, I mean, if you just flex day, now you're at 191. So I mean, if you another flex day, then you need to get away some. And it could be instructional day of extra hours. Report on 78, we don't want that.
You have to meet for peak, is that it? Have so many.
There's, well, a collaboration course throughout, we handle Wednesday early hours, but there's just a need for time. For example, we
No,
have,
I'm not disagreeing.
do K-5, which arts curriculum, right?
You were things for the professional piece, and I know maybe went back and through 2012, and it did, we'd ever had 5 learning days. Majority of those are the 6 and the 7, and so the professional required for legislation, just having district plan for action, and it needs to be teachers too. And it was said more times, the student is a high priority to get to that and learning and what we do for kids. So the next calendar. So
We have a motion. on the
I have
floor.
another, so does what prove the year-round separately? Taking those days and shift the around a little bit or affect that, because they already have those days.
Well, the August 3rd.
Right, but
The winter did go to next week.
so it doesn't affect the around at all,
So in the,
but the day of things.
they have a,
So. Different.
but and this, and Ben asked a question about process, well, this is the first we had tradition around at the same meeting.
Oh,
Our approach here too. What we've done is we approved, we kind of figure year off.
okay.
They're, they have staff working too, kind of simultaneously. There are often differences between, I mean, we have a different start, but then we get year-round synced up in the same time. And what changes a little bit year to year round sometimes is when session is exactly or how long. There's a whole different rules we have to follow around also.
Right.
We can respond maximum of 6 weeks off, or I think we did permission to go a few days over this year. And we have 10 days and the 12. So there's kind of year rounds it's all, but I think the vacation tonight was centered on traditional, and I don't think we make changes around.
Okay,
We take one.
so on that, November,
Could you check them a day as well? Just,
For the,
no.
no, it'd be way in
Yeah.
July.
In what ways that we need to.
Because they have the, I'm thinking that right, so Thanksgiving.
Yeah. The
Yeah,
day.
there's what Thanksgiving. Or,
We could, or we could not be in session.
but then we do sync up our station as well.
so you're saying we start on Friday.
Have them.
Friday.
That's not the greatest.
The one to bring attention, the one thing here was their spring break, we have 3 at spring break. In order to get 10 days in the month of March, it just isn't possible. The way that counts up, so if you hear that, the week before, then we only get 8, even if we take. Only have 6, so concerns over spring break.
So were those days made some here that they could off then?
Yeah.
Okay. So then we take away November 24th, that kind of met their, how many days their teachers off as well.
You took away the 4th, you'd want to back somewhere.
Right.
One of
Round calendar, it's always.
Always small difference.
So we are.
What
We
they
got
did
it.
talk Friday before break, which ties gets an extra spring break, was one of the things.
At where?
So they,
We could take 4th and put it the 11th March.
Oh, okay. So-
did you hear kind of preference on that?
That's what we, for a while. That we saw.
Okay,
I think that makes sense.
it makes sense.
Just because I know that question.
I have another question, when they get off of it.
Right.
I think being a mom that and both on the end of tradition. Views, looking at, we're gonna adjust on what, so I think that helps people, like everything. So year round, we're off,
24th of November.
we're moving it to 11th as a day.
Yeah. You get with that, I think the motion to include your that as well. Okay. So the motion states that on the traditional calendar, start on the 23rd. And it'll have a school day on November 24th. And on a winter day on the 20th of November and the 4th of January. So those are just on the traditional calendar. On the year calendar, the off moves November 4th to 11th. So you guys.
I gotta say one.
Okay.
God bless the youth. 'Cause break, you know.
By the time you get the quarter, they're right exactly the same. And not this one, but their spring break, or spring break is when the 4th quarter. So 4th quarter is exactly the same as they go to the year. It breaks, and then they. Up at the.
That big deal. For elementary.
It's just more, train, train, since this is. But.
Instead of the, they get the 21st.
They will get out of school the very year, they,
On May
20. Like 30th, they're getting, is it 20?
the 27th, before Memorial.
The other
They're gonna
thing-
be all summer at home next year.
The other thing to besides creation, if you would have her in one and another, we'd have your kids any different time. I guess there's start times too.
But you also have it home a day before break.
Yeah.
I mean, you got it.
Well, with
I guess.
her, actually, you have them, you already have them for 2.
Okay. Well, strong.
Okay, so,
Although,
oh, yeah, any others? None, hopefully. Okay. Are you good? Any other just?
Hey, Rob. Hey, Rob. It's cutting out a lot, but are we figuring in those training days that Ben was gonna have planned, and then before COVID, they were gonna do the safety training and that kind of stuff? Is that still gonna happen,
Just
or?
adds more.
Talked about that, and the first of what we were going to do that was the voluntary and a hand, like 5 people per building. And my hope that to take and, like on in a district or sometime work time, one of those pre-service, I could even be on next day. If I can work that with from trainers that we had in that time. So we are trying to, I talked about with Mimi a little bit too, and then we didn't tighten with it anyway, and I didn't dedicate a day, but we are gonna try to work it. That's still on.
Okay.
Okay, so around calendar 20, from the 20th to the 11th, day off.
Yeah.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Done. Okay. Motion carries 6. What's that?
Confirm yay or nay.
Lori, were you? Or
Sorry, Rob, I didn't hear you.
do a yay? Or nay?
I voted yes.
Yes.
Wasn't sure.
Delayed.
It's cutting out really bad.
Okay. Next is our learn.
Yeah, I don't have, here, I just gave an vaccine clinics they can to forward. I'll get a lot of on that right now. We're planning that Friday. The doses that we expect, that's gone pretty well, and I think we're doing okay there. The request about the last I had a question about remote learners and the going back full site, particularly in high school. So I try to capture a little bit in terms of different numbers of learners and are disengaged. You see at the middle school, we have had that number from 6 to 49 remote learners last few weeks. And then also just some number on engagement. Currently would be 7 engaged learners, and the depth used there was multiple subjects, one in 7th grade and 8th grade. People shared with me that that wasn't necessarily really a change because you were coming back full on site. 8th grade was a trouble spot in terms of engagement. high school, currently at the time of this printing, 8 remote learners. And then on 15th, 86 remote learners, at least one app had decreased to 9 remote learners with an F by March 3rd. And for different reasons, our remote advocates making a difference, reaching out to those and trying to middle school. The advocates are not reaching out; they're all individuals for tutoring. I also got this data. The high school, actually, the remoters, their attendance has improved as well. And do a remote learning survey. We have it open, so we have all the findings. I was reading some of the comments, and there are a number of remote families that like the additional Zoom time, zooming in time, and there were 2 that said we prefer just time in the afternoon. But I think on the additional classroom is helping them. You can the rest of that. Basically, we are kids coming from remote site, and we're still working to all those remote learners engaged. There's something that's still reach.
I've got 2 comments or questions.
Okay.
Do you feel that, and against the advocates, we feel like having remote advocates is more that people go back to school?
Yes, with all that combination, I do think it's helpful. Like I said, it is a different model for high school. Middle, the content is a little less specialized, and was a recent hired teacher content area. So I do the middle school is more individual group tutoring, and there at the high school it's more checking, you're on task, you need to, a little different model. But I've heard positive both middle school remote advocate. But it's very fair to say that most of the kids struggling remote, if they're able to come back, they usually do.
So I was gonna ask, they have, at the high school, have so much stuff to graduate. It's a little more obvious what you have to. For middle school, I mean, are there talk of holding kids back? And if there are a bit, are we having as possible conversations with the family so that, they can be part of the solution or decide to, it won't come as if for some reason kids are held back because they.
Yeah, those conversations are happening at the middle school, but also at the entry level.
Yeah.
Because we have students really they're considered unexcused if they're remote, they're not getting up, they're not doing well. And very conversation talking about it as credit based high school, you still need to see learning. And I saw elementary today, a conversation with that, spoken with the middle school as well. And people being put on this and it does help, spurs a little activity. We've also potentially getting some summer school this year. We haven't really done much with where summer has been elementary reading and credit recovery. So definitely aware of it in our families.
Can I have a question on that? Because I've had several about, are we going forward with summer this year?
What are you talking about?
The one that reached elementary. Some of the ones that reached elementary, they
Yes.
just had anything about.
We'll have an elementary school. I would imagine ratios becoming soon.
Okay.
And like I think we're moving to middle school as well.
Are people just know if they're going to back after spring? Is that when the
Part of it was in their intention fourth quarter to commit a quarter.
right? Just didn't know if we were like coming back yet.
I don't know. I haven't looked at that at time. It's been a few more. I haven't come. you had any chance to look at that rate to gauge that remote work? Okay.
Just curious.
Out early because we knew that spring and then with Irving after 2 years, we had the quarter and we didn't want to be at that times. I don't know how longer that's open. 12. So no more definite. Yeah.
Any other question on remote learning?
Yes, I have one more following up this summer. That's something where if I see it, that's the school year's being, there could be that really wants school just because maybe it's more normal in the classroom on it, they kind of catch up. Is there the historically, sometimes we've reached people we felt like could really benefit from that. It could be that people's definition of benefit from that is a lot now because of the way that we get that information. We're gonna open it to anyone, and if we are, better figure out, is it gonna be twice the kids, parents, build it for catch.
Well, in the past, with the nursing and the element, we have had to prioritize those who are, you know, who aren't at grade level. And the top priorities, the research, they're not at grade level in the 3rd grade, really tough to get. And we've not been able to wide open. I think run into there the capacity to teach, having teachers, you know, enough teachers to teach it through what and did months. So
I guess that's my, are we thinking we would offer it up? We could find the teachers and have something that's
that has
than what we've done historically, people doing that.
hasn't been the conversation to date. We've been focused on your question about us for, you know, for being the next grade. I haven't had anybody out the vein you're talking about, maybe principal, something like that. But it probably,
Yeah, I just, it could be this year,
yeah,
what people want.
that's probably.
Could end up in that.
Yeah, I think you do have an opportunity with dollars to expand, definitely. Then it comes to, you know, again, teachers that get through the, they want to try summer school. But even deep freshman.
You have to hire our own teacher, you hire, you know, or that might be in different members.
I think you probably could, would be, I mean, if they were certified, at one time, thinking back to that, at one time with our session at Irving, we were doing more hiring and like we need to kind of improve what we're offering, increase buy-in. So we were to subs for that. Now the school setting maybe a little different. That's
Yeah,
guys
I
will
just-
give you something to think about.
They're gonna want to teach. school.
Yeah, I think, I mean, it's tough to get a
Yeah,
lot.
Yeah,
I want to open it up first and get it familiar with content and their district. I mean, so absolutely, we want to.
So I have a couple notes. Okay. Offer others kind of the catch and then any. So
You almost would have a survey or something, to see. It might be till like, or, now, once.
Anything else on the return? Not to the, but is there any way posted like on sites and everything? Maybe summary says that it's not the correct thing that people can see. That way, access to the, so that way. Okay, is the ratification of Rio 2019-3 contract with Indian Education. So
as stated by Brady, thought this was something easy to accomplish. Once the board could take that up, we kind of numbers to what we could do, in the short term. And John is working on all the was something that we all probably agreed upon and moved. So I would definitely kudos to the board for looking at something we've talked about for a while. And also sometimes we do a negotiated agreement reason, but changes to be made. This is a pretty good issue of that. So I think the deal for our associates to have that increase instead of more nominal than would have been before. So appreciate everybody's work. I think it's a good thing. And it will make our salaries more competitive, which is something that this district.
So, I have a question. $1 total, right? Why did I, so that 100,000 and 48?
I don't know, because I've been using the figure 50,000 after that.
I'm good. I had no. For some reason, I thought we did what we meant by dollar, 150 down, like the 150 was, yeah.
Hi, John, we're talking the cost here. We're not taking what we were budgeting money.
Okay.
When we talked about all,
Yes.
took out the 2%. That was your. We're gonna pay that. I think that's what. Okay, so there's a little bit of. Whatever. We ratify the contract with the Indian Education Association.
Motion made to approve.
I'll second.
Seconded by Carolyn. Further discussion. Board. I want to say real quick, we're talking, I remembered Lori working on this quite some
Before you on the board.
Yeah. So Lori, we're working on hard for with boards and before this, and so we're doing that, getting through. Other discussion. Okay, favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carry 7. Thanks, Lori. All right. Next, the school advisory committee, 20 member recommendation.
So you have in front of the name of 15 parent member for the students, our focus teachers. You have the names of focus group teams that have previously been approved by the board, and the administrators. That list might look longer. We need for an elementary administrator and a second administrator to they rotate for their service.
So that might be laughing or patients. Okay, everybody get.
Myself are on state, and so then we'll come back to the list of parents, the same parent that the beginning of the school, because they did a 2-year commitment. But we said of the students, we want to make sure that, one for being a senior, we wanted them to be involved. And at that to the spring, we'll open back in all of our focus where teachers can request part of the site focus group again. They go year by. So really pleased with the count and planning for that first meeting actually tomorrow.
So what's the objective of the, like, our specific goals? I think a very strong group on there, but I want to make sure that everyone knows what the objective is. It's not it in rabbit holes and
Well,
everything else.
legislation, we have the board committee and they give input, advice. The board is action or decision committee. They look at term education goals and short-term goals. They give on any type of program you might have in it. Any board too that you would want to give input on. So that is what I'm for. And is an advice, so being pressed to first meeting at a, let's call it a cafe or cafe. And ask a question of example, for your students, the exact question yet, but it's one of our needs to gather at the board this about anything for students. Are we preparing for ready life beyond high school? So I'm going to start with a picture of desire in the outcome of graduates our way back to doing gaps and we'll take a look at what are some that we think can continually improve in the district. So a session of three work through this and small group to gather so that it won't be as big heavy as last year. We tried to do a lot of background education in order to get it nice. We're kind of backwards is sort of the dream. We hope to meet our students and then work back to anything we might have.
And they've been well educated at advisory board and on an action board.
That was a question for their forum to go over the thing. I'd say that we do have very action oriented. They have to see growth, make sure that you're making a difference. It is advisory.
No, and I have no problem with that. I want to make sure that we're all on the same with what they're coming up with from education and short-term educational goals and board holds.
Reviewing our goals from district and input. So it's not something where they track it from me. Also, our annual project report from all the different areas that I'll usually get that with the school.
Right. The action.
Yeah, I'm concerned that our mindset, when I first looked down, I never teach down the ministry, systems will never talk, and I not like that. But I think that will.
Yeah. The rotation. Excellent.
And again, teachers from each elementary school and high school.
A motion is to be approved.
And move the side.
Okay, by Carolyn. Seconded by discussion by all those in favor. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Next is the preliminary budget, John.
So, we do have, if there's issues that like to consider, we do have more meeting we could have. When we figured 0.4 increase in some state aid, couple dollars, piece that they put, we are $7,000 new money. And when the tax rate is under $18 per thousand. Years was, it'll change a little bit from when they did the state, I mean, it may be any other. So I need to get okay from you to be able to publish the budget. And when you look at the things that, and so as you look at first sheet, the dollar, the next sheet that you see where that money comes from each of those. First line, line 8 is the general, man is line 10. And our voted is 14, 15. For total dollars, the Pebble is 1.6 million. And then rural budget, 130,000 at 13.5. And right now, $5.05, that's assuming this geo bond. And look, the next sheet, actually what is a combination of all the together. It's more maximum. We can see that we utilize it if we maximize our budget. That's how I show it. And then see add together in the sheets below.
Board member, are you able to see these?
Mine is like.
Mine's full.
Mine's blank. Yeah, that's what.
Really?
Might look
Yeah.
on the screen.
Okay,
No, it's okay.
No, yeah.
Ray's saying our internet is back.
Yeah.
So he's.
Slip over through in here.
The story. Yeah. Let's see, so each budget page, you see the FY budget, the blue first page is general through all. And then the next pages are continuation of sales, tax, capital, and then service, and then our child funds. So all those together, if you're adding those up, that happens when we put it in that second of the budget. Page. And you're looking 3 years, you're looking at actual 20, re-ended 21, and a budget of 2. Also keep it, we will have to for this curve, because if we do that, we've done one thing, that will throw us out of what we had. And then if we do, so we'll figure what that, then we'll make no problem. Amendment for the budget. And actually, and probably this page of the budget is kind of if you can kind of see what we've done here. You know, the top items, geo bond, general obligation were voted on, they've all been so the advance funding for 2000 was 2018, and now we're going to again. That's what we're looking at again. The current for 2016 is now the 2017. Current refunding in 2018 is now the fund. You know, you see that we funded all those. Now we're in our course funding that.
Refunding in the payments equivalent to refinance costs or something, lower rates in the future.
Right. Yeah, right now that they're about for the 2018 bonds are about a 0.88% rate.
So these are the years that we've saved $8 million future interest.
12 now?
What's that?
8 or 12.
It's 8, right? And then, yeah, it's over 8. It's, you know, but, yeah, that's almost a bond issue that we, then, you know, said those 6, and then below this extra, 3 of those also refunded. So you can, see, you know, how that's been, so.
And if this note is published, then I alluded to certain is exactly what last year's levy rate
A
is
penny there.
less than a penny.
So that was really, make
Yeah.
sure that it was
And it-
equal here to
I think
taxpayers.
that when we really calculated it at 2%, so when I put it to 4, I was able to get it right.
Right. It's good, I think.
This. What are the ones that over years comparing to other years? And this is really important. I've always understood maximum money coming, maximum amount. spend less, but we can't spend, am I saying that?
Going without, you wouldn't increase your taxes, where they're set up, you can't go, you could always go.
This would be an action.
So I can, do approval of it in April.
Can't flip back.
I know.
Approve the
It's-
publishing notice, the public hearing for the 21-22 budget.
I will move that.
Motion by Carolyn. Seconded by, any further by the board? All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Carry 7-0.
And you guys see anything?
It's really,
It's
like,
very,
between pages, like a minute or two.
Mine went out 10 minutes,
One
but
of them,
my whole thing. 10 minutes.
some of it's coming.
It
And then
I've got like three.
Okay.
we'll move on, series 21, refunding of 16.
Two actions, this is just, Piper Sand, the financial agreement we have. That's the, do that as well, for the dissemination.
These are action items.
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll move financial service. Piper.
Any motion then to approve?
I'll second
Seconded by Donna. By Donna, any discussion by the board? In favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carried 0.
I'll move amendment to discrimination agreement.
Made by Ben. Second, Sue, for discussion by the board. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carry 7. Next is the board facilities committee meeting.
So,
Aye.
Go ahead.
We've had this in our budgets that escort lighting for 110,000, we've been carrying it years and years. And it's discussion, didn't see how benefit our students. So we'll just take that off budget. Nothing voted on that. We moved into the field house tower, which is interesting. UIF directors of grant for a sound system. Field house apparently not that great there now. I'm just sure I've got the grant would be 25,000, and they need us to.
letter of support that say we would all that finish.
Yeah, we would do that. And actually done, so this is within the administration's budget, so they think that idea. Some people situation all the time.
It's cold.
Yeah, yeah. For replacement, I don't know how to describe this. Do you, John?
They are.
Yeah, they're the pricing desk.
A rising desk, it's like a 3x3 table. And so do you have the more? You can speak for the other, that we've been, the grant happened for the middle school, Christie did, it, and then building got the.
For the wellness.
The wellness. So that interest, many of the school have like, how the middle school building has. So one of the, that were the COVID health, the mental wellness grant that we originally, so.
We got 4 or 12.
Cemetery.
And then we had high school. So moving forward, believe this can fund source of COVID money. So we want that to allow this burning in the process, of getting the numbers we'll need for whatever numbers will. So
So what are we saying? We're giving.
they're
yes to
ordering
every-
every teacher, every teacher.
It's kind of, think of it like a.
Yeah, they're,
No, I don't think about it. I'm just
Yeah.
like, when I read, the tell if it's teachers or students.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
So we, the wellness program is so many in the different buildings. A lot of teachers were like, "They're really cool, really help us teach the classrooms and be more interactive." And with a couple
It's just a new student and furniture.
Yeah.
Just understand whenever it's,
so
that's getting confused. Okay.
I think it's 100, we have,
Wow, yeah.
Those new screens are, those projector and are those are on already. They're already.
So does it get rid of? Like, yours just-
No, I think it gives teachers additional ability, laptop, for trying to teach the whole part one class. The drawback would be, and particularly one school, our class is pretty small, but no, really, placing, we like it.
Okay. Tight.
Yeah.
All right. Next is the facilities project. Security.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Self-explanatory. It was true, so there's still pretty much list. Waiting here, I'm sure I've had a tract of pieces that they're working on the auditorium. Contractors are scheduled to work or, we were, to be done for spring break and they can't get, so they'll be put to school this time, but it won't happen because it's like time.
I wouldn't be see that happen. There's
Yeah.
lots of running short.
The auxiliary high school renovation, you've been involved with that and Texas, we're looking at different test sites and people with all that first April, to share that information. I bring it that we can April, Monday in April is that's the next one. The right thing is the 12th. Do you want to schedule it as a work?
What was it?
For the session for the arts?
Yeah.
They want to come back first. It's in early April. The first Monday was the 5th. We want to put it down and work with the architect.
I believe so. I would rather a work session. We can
Okay.
understand everything.
Okay.
So we have to change the board.
The 12th.
Oh.
First
We just stuff up, done in April, we had
Like we.
March because of the 5th, we had a schedule for the 8th. And you have to meet the 6th, so you have to decide 4 weeks ago, you want to drop out the work session.
Maybe I can't. Wait. Oh, yeah. We gotta have. Okay. Student mental health is update.
Next thing is just a major check out. Met Stacy Warren, who is the read AEA. She had gathered information, we talked about refining the process. And I know we were reports in from the committee perspective, so, we'll try to be repetitive. Just a little bit that, again, how things are going, numbers, seen so far, students see some of the things that we're working on with that. The opposite barrier, the second point there's referrals shouldn't be your thing. We were interviewing providers this summer, and we knew at least one provider was going to have their person, 2 to 3. So we did get a little slow start. The good news, chime in here, but I think we've had ways. I think we're getting. That was kind of the priority there. The other point under opportunity years might just be an thing. I'm to make referral in connection with treatment. There are kids that needs the system, but there's a referral process. We have them kind of.
It means a lot of times therapist, this is a student I need to work with, but mom and actually, back to mom and dad don't communicate, and then the therapist obviously is with the child with consent. I think that therapist, it's just thing with remote, and you can email and don't respond. I think that's what they're seeing is just part on to approve.
And then the bottom there, the best practice scoring, that's kind of where we can assess where we're at. And the goal is, like it says, it's a mental health system, looking at how all fit there. Second bullet alludes to what I think we can read a little bit, how we're gathering information, making sure we ask in a way that's putting a big burden on providers, and sure that we ask in a way that answer the same, so we really get depth. And the last is just kind of again a document that goes through roles and fit together. Look back just over the course of the year, and the board helped us in motion. Hey, we're going to have additional funds to this, so we can go out and do different providers, multiple, and have help for our kids, assistant help. I think we've come a long way in a year, so there's going on there.
Does the board thinks our committee meeting?
Wanted to add on the philosophy of the school district. I took a look at it and add those graphs to that. All that sounded good. Other than that, remember any potential change we just titled some of the complaint forms to specify specifically what the form was intended for, such as discrimination performed, and then later on there for anti-harassment, just help those. Other than that, all weeks changes.
Just,
Exactly.
these need to be
First reading.
moved first read of these.
Motion made by to approve reading. Seconded by. Any further discussion by the board on policies? Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried 7-0. Next calendar.
HR, got that tomorrow on Thursday.
tomorrow each.
Yep.
It's next week.
Any issue?
Can I,
With,
can I call in for HR and
What's that?
curriculum meeting?
yeah,
Call in tomorrow. Okay. Any,
want Lori, somebody to call phone and or do you want to? No, or we're gonna be, or do it myself. What's the okay.
and the next. Yeah.
Is there any issue with finance 16th? Is everybody spring break? John and I plan working, will be here, so
Next week.
next Tuesday.
And then, good for
And we're adding, is October 2nd.
4 meetings.
You're gonna hear Ray.
Every weekend. Every weekend.
We're doing percentage. Well, I got two.
Zeros.
No,
No, anything other. Make up.
Favor? Okay. Thanks, sir.